dance, yeah. Come on, dance, yeah. Daddy, my business, you catching fever. Getting serious like empty river. Ain't no stopping by the river. And as we coming, we sweeping, we cutting, we moving all the way. Yeah. We coming, yeah. We coming. As we coming, we sweeping, we coming. And then when we meet obstacles,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome in another edition of the program, The Bottom Line. And this program comes your way every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central European Time and 7 o'clock GMT, 7 o'clock Liberian Time. And so we want to officially welcome you. With me in studios today, Mr. Paul Choiple from the UK and Mark Far, also from Sweden. And if time permits, we'll have a guest joining us. And probably Andre Jalo will be joining us in the process. And so, gentlemen, let me say welcome to you and just tell us exactly how you guys doing this evening. We've got a lot to discuss, and so we're going to go straight into today. But just tell us exactly how things fare with you guys.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. It's good to be back on Bottom Line. Things are good and I'm okay. It's good to see you all. We had a very beautiful day today, English weather, rain and sun. So I am a typical Englishman today, just to say, well, I'm good. How you guys doing?
We are great. Mark?
Greetings, everybody, wheresoever you are, following the bottom line. I'm doing good from my end here in Stockholm, Sweden. And it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Okay. Guys, tonight, let me just parade us through what some of the things we'll be discussing here. We'll be starting with the breaking news of the day. That is the forensic investigators that were, brought into the country by Mr. Cummings have released their findings, and we will be looking at some of the major points that they highlighted in their report. And also, we'll be looking at the environmental hazards posed by mining companies in Liberia and what can be done if you have any suggestions. And we'll be exploring the danger of the CPP at loggerhead. What danger does it pose to the political stability of Liberia, as well as bringing good governance to Liberia? And mental health is now becoming a burden on post-war Liberia. And finally, we'll be looking at what are some of the plans that Mr. Alexander Cummings have, in the wake of all of these wranglings. And so, let me say welcome to you. For those of you just joining us, please share the video, or you can catch us on Facebook as well as on YouTube and our online radio as well. Gentlemen, to get the ball rolling, let's not waste any time. Like I said, we'll be looking at the report from Omnia and Alaco. This report is out, and we expect there will be a lot of backlashes. People from the other side will be giving their own analysis and stuff like that. And we don't expect all to go their way, even though the facts are there. We will not want to accept it. But how do you guys look at the fact? So far, Paul, I have gone through the summary, the executive summary, and I have it. I'm going to share it on the screen. But I don't know whether you've gone through it or whether Mark has also seen it. What do you guys make of?
Well, I mean, this is an interesting time in Liberia, to be honest with you. For the thing is, from the get-go, we've been saying that the case is a bogus case. The government needed to throw it out. But it's now clear that the government is the one behind of this prosecution instead of the people that took the case to court. Because the merit of which you take case to court have to be looked at thoroughly before the judge even accept it or for anyone to prosecute. So we know now is the government that behind this thing. And that, I mean, the summary of that document just said, they made it clear. There's nothing in it, and we've been seeing it all along. So I don't know what Mark think of this, but that's how I see it. It's a Booker case. It's a kangaroo court that was being set up to go against Mr. Cummings. That's how I see the whole thing.
Good.
Well, the thing here is, I've been very busy on my end today. Just got in, and we'll go through this. How they call this publication later on. But do you blame the government or do you blame the people that took Mr. Cummings to court that led to the breakaway of the CCP? One thing we need to look at. So the government is, I mean, the government was given a rare meat and the government is eating a rare meat. So we need to look at how they call it, what led to, and those that took Mr. Cummings to court. That's what we need to look at. And to the government, what can Mr. Cummings do against the
We
government?
also have our other guest analyst on in the background, Mr.
Yeah.
Prince Taylor. Let's see if we can bring on Prince very fast because we got a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
Prince, do you hear us well?
I can see you and hear you. How are you? Good evening, guys.
Okay, very good. And we can see you too and hear you. Oh, you just joined us, but basically we talking about this breaking news, which is the release of the report by Omnia and Alaco, the forensic investigators.
Okay.
And we will be discussing a executive summary, but if you guys don't mind, let me just put it up here on the screen so that we can begin to go right away into it and see if we can delve into it. I don't know how readable it will be, but we can try to probably zoom it a little bit. I don't know how it's going to work out for
Let me
us.
get my tablet. Maybe it might work.
I hope it's going to be good. Okay. I think we're having problem with the zooming here, but let me put it back and let me see if I can put it back. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, but basically, it says here, executive summary. Oh, sorry. Again, sorry. Okay, it says here executive summary. If any of you have it, you can open it as you go through it. We wouldn't read it. We wouldn't be reading much, but we just highlight some of what was said in there, and because this is going to be the talking point for, I guess, for the rest of the week, and so it's nothing to really think about more. But in this thing, the people are saying in the first line. Let me just get my hand on it. It's very, very difficult for me to read it from here.
I managed to zoom it. Zoom it myself.
Okay, very good. And can you just take us through the first point there? Or if you want to read the headline for us.
Yes,
the
political leader of the Alternative National Congress (ANC) in Liberia. It's a bit tiny here. Instructed law from Omni Stage and investigated from also limited. I think I'll read the points that they put on here. The primary findings of do they call them what? Omina and Alaska Independent report in yeah, bear with me. Let's see if I can get something zoomed properly for me.
The summary finding of NEA and Alaco independent report in summary are as follow. The CCP Investigative Committee reports rely upon by the prosecution in the criminal proceeding does not withstand scrutiny, provides no reliable substantiations for the allegation it's purported to uphold and is a wholly unsafe basis for any criminal prosecution. You want me to continue?
Okay.
Um,
No, we
yeah.
take that point quick. Or they are clearly saying in the last paragraph, in the last sentence, they are clearly saying that there is no basis for criminal prosecution, and this is nothing new to those of us who saw this case from the start. For those of us who looked beyond, even though some of us are not lawyers, but we looked beyond all incriminatory evidence, and we saw that there was no evidence enough sufficient. This is why the case, in fact, has dragged onto 5 months. We said this over and over that this case has no criminal basis. It has no basis at all to, in fact, be in a court. And now the independent investigators are saying the same thing. So I don't know if any of you have anything to add, so that we move on to the next point.
Yeah, my own contribution would be, why do they have to come to this point before actually reneging on the fight that there isn't any smoking gun? Because clearly, before any such case was allowed for adjudication, they must have done some prima facie investigation to find out that there were merits to be able to delve into such a case, especially that involved one of the key political figures. But wasting government resources or the taxpayers' money and coming to this conclusion after a number of months, for me, shows some level of incompetence from the judiciary that were actually handling this case to begin with, because these are things that they could have immediately picked up to work on. Before a case is prosecuted, they must have merits and to be able to go into it and waste taxpayer money. So my question is, why did they in the first place waste all the time to go to this?
Okay, I will comment on your concluding question later. But Paul, I know Paul have already said something about it, but the only thing I want us to discuss here is the last part of that particular point, where it says this case has no criminal prosecution at all.
But the thing is, Linford, I think Prince said something with the wasted. I mean, the thing is a waste of taxpayer money, waste of waste the government time. There are a lot of bad things have been happening in Liberia. So many murder cases and rape have been happening. The government seems not to focus on those issues, but to go behind somebody that they are threatening, are threatened of, because the case have no merit. This case is not a case for Solicitor General of that country to be. That's the first thing. If I took you to court for something, a forgery, is that thing belong to the Solicitor General of this case? You'd look at it. The time that they're taking away taxpayer money, all of the other things that are happening in the country now, this case has overshadowed a lot of things. So I mean, it just shows that what kind of system we have in Liberia. See, I don't know. It's not, although Mark said it's like they were so brought to the government to make use of this thing. I think it's waste of taxpayer money. That's 5 months. Sorry, man, 5 months. One paper that you can't find. This is just document case. That one dragging up to going to 6 months.
One of the easy way I think the government should have avoided such embarrassment too, because accusing somebody of forging a signature should have been investigated, okay, by the criminal division, how they call it, law enforcement department that we call, I think, the CID, that my signature was forged before even it go to any legal proceeding to prosecute the person that was involved. So that step was not taken in the first place. There was never any, how they call it, investigation done as to the first, because the first allegation, if I remember, it was based on signature. Okay. Did the government, how they call it, do any investigation as to whether the signature was forged or not? Then the government, to what Mr. Cummings did, I think is something that the government should have done from the initial stage. If someone accuses somebody of forging a signature, you bring the Liberian forensic to determine if that signature was forged. Then if the signature was not forged, you should have thrown that case out. Then they went to another step. Oh yeah, the color of the document. From the color of the document, then they came to clauses. All those things should have involved an investigator by the Department of Justice should have set up a special counsel to investigate it. If it requires any forensic, if we don't have those technicians in Liberia, then you bring in an independent body, because there was this is a conflict between political parties that form an alliance before even going to court. But as things look, I reserve my comments for now, but the government is just putting there a lot of recipe for noise in Liberia. Yeah, and this is one of it.
Okay, we move to the second point. It says the existence of substantial differences between the original draft and later versions of the framework document is not in dispute, but nor is it untoward. Such an evolution is the logical and expected consequence of the interactive process of negotiating the framework document. In particular, the amendments proposed as a result of the CPP party's legal review of the draft text were reviewed and approved by the constituent parties prior to the registration of the framework document with the NEC. Now, yeah, good point right there.
So there's the court provide these findings, because I'm asking this question blindly to think that this is probably not coming from the judge. It almost looked like I will find out maybe Cummings produced this to present it. Are they actually saying this? Because these were things that were said before that nothing changed, because we heard the story that, in fact, the document, the changes they were talking about were like chronological order, like A, B, C, D, moving paragraph from this to this. Now, that statement that you just read tells me clearly that there were the ingredient or the content of the framework document in no way was tampered with. Every constituent party was involved or knew and were aware of what was presented to NEC, and that's the document they are looking at. Am I reading that right from what you've just read there?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say.
So why then it? You see, like my brother just said earlier, Brother Fan, before a case goes to court, even in this country, a criminal case, there will be sufficient evidence for prosecution before it goes to court. Because if you haven't got evidence, in fact, initially, that's what the court said, if I stand to be corrected, that there were new and sufficient evidence that prosecuted this case with Alex Cummings. And many of us were thinking, okay, it'll be interesting to see what's coming up from here. But just reading that statement make me to wonder how and why did they take all of this time, use of resources, time and money that could have been diverted somewhere else.
Yeah.
Wait for more interesting points. Let's go to point number 3, if you guys don't mind. We tie in with that. Point number 3 says here, the fact that the chairman of the CPP investigative committee, Mr. Theodore Momo, I guess, of the ALP played a prominent role in the multilateral review of the framework document, both via WhatsApp and in meeting, and therefore had direct knowledge of how the process had unfolded, gives rise to question not just about the CPP investigative committee's competence, but also about its motive. Now, look at that. When this document was redone, when it was first done, there was public outcry. So they all agree that let's give it to the lawyers. And these lawyers I guess none of them represented the interests of any of the parties. They may be party sympathizers, but in that capacity, they were not like, okay, I'm there for ANC or ALP. No, they were independent group that went together to look at this document from independent, view, and then they all work on it. They made an amendment. They brought it back. The community brought it back to all the political leaders. They view it, okay? And the very ALP that took Mr. Cummings to court, his party chairman was the chairman of his partisan. Theodore Momo was the chairman of that investigative committee, okay? And he oversaw the whole process. That's why the paper is saying here that everything was done under his supervision. That alone, for him to backtrack on what they all have agreed on to allow his party to take Mr. Cummings to court, that's why the paper is saying here that alone brings into question the competence of that particular group or the motive that they had,
Wow.
But the thing here is, was Mr. Momo ever invited by the prosecution or the prosecutor of this case? Was he ever invited to say what he know? And
But
then two,
he was the first witness. Let me correct you, Ma. He was the first witness.
okay, he was the first witness. But then here is it that, I mean, the scene prosecutor asked Mr. Cummings, if I recall, to provide some evidence. And there were some, I mean, how they call this, clauses within the document that he took out from the document. So the whole proceeding of the whole process of the case here for me is just confusing, noise making.
If you ask me, I would think the intent of this process became to a greater extent a fiat, because looking at this, just reading those outcomes tells me that there was a different intent for prosecuting Mr. Cummings. This was used as, if you like, a means by which they will use, like librarian, saying, you can say there are many ways to kill a cat. Some cat you put it in the bag, you wrap it up, and it don't make noise. Some you not stick with it. Some so there are different ways. So basically, I think just reading these outcomes tells me that it was a calculated plan to have caused distraction that would have, to a greater extent, derailed the Cummings camp, or the Cummings momentum, if you like, and basically killed that spirit that he had to probably move forward. It wasn't cleverly done, though. And probably they were dealing with the other side that was more clever or more aware of what was happening than they themselves had anticipated.
Yeah, but Brother Taylor, something here is that this case, looking at what the opposition did, for example, the group that want to break away also, they are also implicated, because you have few of them coming to take the stand and lying on an oath, questions that are being asked to them, things that are in the document, lying that, oh yeah, they got no idea, and you got other people coming to testify that were part of, like, the Momo fellow, okay? Yeah. They will come to testify that, oh yeah, we were part of certain committee and we put in so and so clauses. The lawyers that, I mean, how they call it, were given the document also to put in certain clauses. Those lawyers too need to be contacted as time passes by. Did the prosecution go about all these things before finding some faults within the document to say, okay, then this document need to go to court? Did he do these things? No, he never went about it. So as you said, the opposition. So what happened, for example, now, if Mr. Cummings and his camp, the ANC, are found guilty, and what happened if the so-called group that took Mr. Cummings to court, and they are found guilty for lying on an oath. So what the consequence going to be? They're both going to be banned from participating in the election. Then what kind of election you're going to have? With those small parties, you're going to call that free and fair election. So it's just a nonsensical case for me.
No, I think this. I wouldn't blame the opposition for taking on the opportunity that it did, because any party will want to do that. The reality is, the bottom line was to have sprung on an opportunity that will give them the edge to do what they want to do, because cleverly, I can see now that probably there were issues that people didn't want the ANC to progress and try to marginalize or kill them. And they feel that if there was a case, especially talking about coming to court, about lying, about being, someone who considered themselves clean, being now found to be a cheater, quote unquote, that will kill that momentum of because that's one thing Mr. Cummings, I think, has a pride of. He can say, I'm clean. I've never been involved in any of this, shenanigans going on in Liberia. When you look at the civil conflicts and what have you, he comes up always and say, I'm a man of integrity. So this was clearly meant politically to question his integrity, by means of lying, and these things happen. If Mr. Cummings wasn't strong, and if he had panicked and not want to, where this come from, where this is, then even though it's not true, but that moment alone would have just caused the whole process to derail. But good that he kept the focus to make sure, hang on, this is not true, and remain calm and follow the due process to now come up with these findings. It is my hope, therefore, that these outcomes will be publicized as much as possible. I think that's a job for the ANC to do, because it caused a lot of damage. There are many people that would never come back to read these findings, or they know that Cummings were taken to court for changing, framework document. Now, it is challenging. I think if I were one of the legal advisors for Cummings, I'll be telling that you got to specify even maybe 3 to 6 months. This has to be publicized in the newspapers, on the news, to make sure that people understand the outcome, because the damage it had caused him will not easily be repaired for the fact that not many people will read the outcome now. Not many people are interested in what happened at the end of the day in court, but people were interested in making sure that they took a clean man to court for day.
Yeah. Another thing too, Brother Taylor, is that is how our people reason, right?
Yeah.
Because from the initial stage, there's some propagandists from the other side. They have this weapon, our people mindset, the way they think. So when this person ran with it that, oh yeah, Mr. Cummings will lead the CCP, and a lot of people, and some of our question Mr. Cummings, I mean, we kind of encourage Mr. Cummings to in fact lead the CCP, and he said, no, I'm not leaving. And the reason why he did not leave today is what unfolding. So these same people, they notice that Cummings is not going to leave the CCP, sold this propaganda to their follower. And the next thing is to tarnish his reputation, because they know that they cannot defeat him in the primary. Liberian people way of thinking. So the thing here now is who breaking up the CCP, because Mr. Cummings was blamed from the initial stage. Who is breaking up the CCP is something that Liberian people need to start thinking about and reason that, okay, it is the other camp that is breaking up the CCP, because in as much as we concern us, as far as we concern, Mr. Cummings remained within the CCP. He did not take anybody to court. The other people don't want to play by the rules that we should go to a primary, and whosoever win, we're going to support the president. That has been Mr. Cummings' stand from day one. But the other people, they feel entitled and they feel threatened by the popularity of Mr. Cummings going around the country and making his case to the Liberian people. So all these things, the Liberian people are the one now need to stand behind Mr. Cummings, because the fact is there that Mr. Cummings is not the cause. Liberian people came together and demanded the establishment of the CCP. Every one of us there will follow what happened, the 16 billion, the 25 million. That's where the Liberian came from to say, okay, you formed this collaboration or the alliance to go against George Weah. And those that are breaking up their alliance, their coalition, are the one the Liberian people need to be very, very angry with.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Sorry that hopefully we're not dominating, but I'm sure
No.
from what you've just said makes a lot of point. The CPP framework, I still today believe that is the best framework against Joshua. And I was pleased to have listened to Mr. Cummings the other day. He said, well, look, this vehicle is still the vehicle that we all believe will lead us to town. It has a punch tire. We broke down in coming from bombing, or in Burrowville, or we Akakata coming from Banga, coming to town. And I was really pleased to hear that, because I think even though we've come out of this process, and I'm glad we came out, this court case helped Mr. Cummings in many ways. It exposed him more than they thought it would have tarnished his reputation or diminished his shining light. But it helped to bring, because many people say, oh, Mr. Cummings. Now, there was Mr. Cummings at the CPP. The CPP framework is still the good thing. And I'm disappointed that Ambassador Boakai, of all people, of elders, and I personally wrote him a letter, and I was shocked that up to now I haven't even heard from him. And these were people who close to him talked to me. Yeah, right, the old man. This is old man. I know there are people I talked to. I said, look, you are the father. Let's call you the father of Liberia right now. Here are your children. Exhibit some leadership. If you think you can lead Liberia, this is the first litmus test. You have a team of people. You just have one person, in fact, you and Cummings, because all the other people are either one side or the other. So you and Cummings fight to say, look, this is how I would do it. Because if you became a president, you'll have a lot of issues that you will deal with. You have a lot of disagreement. How are you going to work at those? How are you going to navigate through those disagreements to make sure that your opponent or people who disagree with you agree with you to be able to succeed? Now, it's not about dividing the group. This, I think, if they did this, giving the governing party a huge edge, because a divided house cannot stand. We all saw what happened during the primaries. We all saw what success the collaborating parties brought, and that frightened the ruling party. Don't get me wrong. They took advantage of this, and the judges had to do this because they felt that doing this will help them. Because the Liberian people see that the CPP has, gone a separate way. It's all, disintegrated. The people say, but who are the people going to look at? Let's just look at it. We'd rather have one thing than nothing, So for me, I think clearly Mr. Cummings still has work to do. After this case, we need to throw this down now, go in-house, form a team, see how we can reach out. Now, not necessarily Boakai, because clearly Boakai feels defeated, because if he could not even free a candidate into the coming legislative by-election, I don't know whether that case has been resolved, whether they gave them the urge, because he signed a framework document that say anyone leaving the collaborating parties will not have a place separately to run. So that clause alone held him down, and will be the same with the other party. So these things are working in the background. There are time for negotiation, and I think Mr. Cummings should just use this as his disposal as a weapon. I don't want to call it a weapon, but maybe as an armor to strengthen him to be able to negotiate more, and not only LAP or LP and or Benin party, but other political parties, see how they can come to the table, how they can engage in enlarging the CPP arrangement. I think that would be a huge strength. But if the CPP remains complicit and don't do that, that will be a vote.
Hold on, Leifo. I just want to throw something in there. What Prince and Brother Faha just said, it makes a lot of sense. But my question now to all of us here, what is internationally seen to Liberia, our legal system, because this thing going to be published all over the world? What does that say about our legal system, that you accept case in court but not do your due diligence to even investigate? What does this say about our legal system now? On my brother stewardship in Liberia, President Weah, what does this say?
This is just to further concretize allegations that people have made about this government's incompetence in providing good governance to the people. We all sat down and we saw an associate judge being forcefully and illegally removed with the acquiescence of the president. We also saw a case where a candidate ran in a senatorial election for Lufa County. He won fairly. He didn't get any objection from his opponents in the race. They accepted his victory, but the government brought up a case that was already in court because this money case about Brandon Samoga was already in court. The government has paid part of that money, okay, meaning that the case can be resolved, meaning that the case was no more case. It was like making agreement and making stipulations how much he can pay every month. But the government capitalized on that dead case and denied this man his seat. Okay, those are all trampling on justice. And then we see political parties having problems within their ranks. And one of them run to the court. The first thing is the government should have said, no, you'll go back to your rank, you'll go and solve your problem. If you don't make it, then you can come. And the particular core of the case, which Brother Taylor just, Brother Matt just struck earlier on, was that they should have set up some of those criminal investigation groups that we have in Liberia, like the CRD and whatever, and say, look, go and look at this document, peruse the document, look at it and see the difference. But the government rather use that opportunity to run after Mr. Cummings.
But it was Brother Lenko, it was
those are just 3 instances. But before one of you come in, let me go back. Before you just come in, let me go back to one of the points you stressed. That the case will now give Mr. Cummings an edge. I know the mindset of our Liberian people. They will say, oh, this man, everybody carried the way against this man. They took a man to court. They lie on him. Now we think they now know that this man is the real person. The fact that the government all can gang up against a man. But my question now is, if this report has been published, if the international community gives this report credence, because I'm mentioning the international community for a reason, they are the ones that we run to. They are the ones who more or less we look up to for our survival as a country. So if they buy the reports and they see merits in it, what will the government do? Will the government drop the case against Mr. Cummings, knowing that there will be repercussion? Because Mr. Cummings mentioned in one of his interviews that the people who went after him in this case, if the outcome comes out in his favor, there will be consequences. He didn't name which consequences. So out of shame, you think the government will give up easily? Don't you think the government will try to press against Mr. Cummings in any other form? Yeah, well,
let me come before Mark. You see, this is classic. The organization that did this forensic investigation. The name. Hear the name. Barrister Sherry Blair. She is no easy potato in a legal system in the UK. She get repetition. Her husband carried that repetition too. Her organization is known internationally. And she come up with a report like this. It's going to be in all the international arena, and meaning our donors. They're going to read this report. So it will have some sort of bearing on our government times to come. So this alone will put more pressure on the government, from my opinion. So Mark and Brother Taylor, you can come in.
Look, to my fellow panelists on the show, I just want to say something, that the reason Liberia is where it's at today is a long history. And this history has to do with right after the war. The CINSO international community, along with, how they call it, the ECOWAS and the other African, contributor to bringing peace and stability to Liberia, they are all responsible today for where the country is at today. What do I mean by that? The TRC fact finding is just a recommendation. It's not anything that was to have legal binding or implication in Liberia. Then, having said that, who are those people that were to participate in the political arena are the same stockholders, the same, people that participated in the Liberian War. And right after that, every one of us know what role Ellen Johnson played in the Liberian crisis, what they should do for the 12 years. Did she help to, restructure, for example, one of the main important institutions in the country when it comes to rebuilding is the legal system in our country. That's the first institution that you have to structure, because once that institution is in place and functioning independently and adequately, you find everybody in our country to behave. Nobody is above the law. But under her 12-year leadership, the legal system, there were a lot of fouls that were committed in our country, and everything were pushed under the rug. And we Liberians, we are very good at that. Now, the same thing comes to this. I call this, the whole legal system in Liberia is a gangster department, just operating on a gangster way. Because had it not been so, if you had somebody, for example, look at our justice minister, according to what I read about him, he's somebody that got a license from the European Bar Association, and that should be a disgrace. It's just a matter of time before people start complaining about his behavior, how as a laws, how they call it, a license from Europe is behaving in Liberia, abusing the law in Liberia. Then you have another gangster prosecutor, which is the SG. He also too, I don't know where he got his lesson from. Liberia, if it's only in Liberia, now reason with it, I understand the way he's behaving. So it's a long history, Brother Paul, until you can get some good administration that will help to restructure all these institutions for them to function appropriately. We'll always have this kind of a behavior. Yeah. So to your question that you asked, what sort of legal system, how the international community, it's just a gangster department. That's all. People been dying in our country. We have 5 auditors that were killed in our country. What become of it today? Nothing. We got people missing in our country. What become of it? Nothing. Money missing in our country. What become of it? Nothing. But just Mr. Cummings alone, they are taking 5 to 6 months going after Mr. Cummings. That should speak volume to you.
Yeah. So Prince.
Yeah. Well, it's very glaring and it's intriguing, equally interesting to see how this plays out, because clearly the purpose of this whole charade that these guys put out there is a shame, and I'm just praying that the CPP arrangement, or people within that arrangement, don't waste so much time on this, to begin to work harder in the background to put themselves together. But like you said, I don't want to say what the government will do. If I was in the government position, I would take advantage of whatever was going on within the CPP. But for me, it clearly tells me again that you have elements within the CPP that are actually greedy. Do they actually have Liberia at heart? Yeah. Are they going to, hold on to those principles and values that they all agree they will go on to? And that is a huge question mark for the Liberian people today, because Liberian people feel that, hang on, all these guys come together. They should be the most educated bunch. We say Joshua in no book. We say Joshua in a group in this, that. Now we got people who's supposed to know the book, who's supposed to understand the need for working as a team, who's supposed to understand the significance of collaboration, who's supposed to understand the beauty of putting up, the best among you all. But with all of these awareness, all of this knowledge, then they're fighting among themselves. So yeah.
But Brother Prince,
yeah,
this is the thing with Liberian, right?
Yeah.
We got people to pretend that they love that country, but they don't love that country. For example, looking at the older, most experienced politician, long-term serving in Liberian political arena, looking at the age. I don't want to go after her age that much, but you don't have the energy looking at Liberia, the position Liberia in now. It requires somebody who is very energetic to put in 12 to 14 working hours to get that country moving, that will be able to, looking at the Southeast region that will patrol that country, tour that country, and see what the people need, like Mr. Cummings. So if this group of people were not greedy, okay, and how they call it, power driven, they would have come together and say, look, they would have done their, background work to say, John Brown, Peter, Paul, we got, our little dirty cloak in the basket. But now here is this guy, Mr. Cummings. He's the rightful candidate that we can present that the government got nothing on. And if every one of us, we put our weight behind this one man, let us discuss, the backdoor channel, whatsoever stake this other person going to have, and you understand, in his government. That is something we can discuss behind the husk.
It was all about this idea of. I'm
coming in for.
Yeah.
So had they done that behind closed door and present Mr. Cummings, put the weight behind Mr. Cummings, I can tell you, I can assure everybody in this chat that George will have been a one-time elected president. But it's greed. It's greed that led to the breakaway of the CCP.
And I was trying to add up. It's all about this idea of entitlement, that somebody feels is entitled. So and what they forgot from the onset is that they forgot that all of the parties that were going to the CPP were going as independent political parties with their own plans and with motives, as Benoda intimated in one of his speeches, that they all have ambition. So how can you go there and then they come out and say, why is it that Mr. Cummings is a newcomer? He didn't agree to go as VP. How will you tell Liberia, Brazil, France, and all these countries to go to World Cup? Then you go say, okay, Liberia, when you get to the World Cup now, time to play, you say, Liberia, your team, because you're there new. So you're going to be, in fact, you'll go second play. We didn't play it. You also should go second play because we never played in the World Cup before. Also work that way. So, but I think, guys, let's move to the third point quickly because the time is flying. The third point here, has to do with very interesting thing. It says the fact that that's the fourth point. It said a comparative analysis of the prosecution's WhatsApp evidence against an authenticated version of some chat room reviews glaring omissions in the prosecution's submissions. Despite assurances from the prosecution that these omissions were inadvertent, it strains the credibility that the omissions resulted from several pages of the prosecution's exhibit having been inadvertently misplaced. Rather, there is a pattern of exculpatory evidence having been selectively withheld by the prosecution. You see, now these are people who are taking Mr. Cummings to court for altering document, for allegedly altering document and then forging their signature. But they will go into the WhatsApp chat room and remove some elements from the chat room that could have formed very good evidence in favor of the defendant. So tell me, if I say Mark Farr took my test paper and then he removed all my Google answer and put it to answer he passed. Okay, but they see man, he will reporting me. I will reporting the mark. Then I go all the communication that me and Maha. Oh my man, please send me your paper, man. Let me look at it, man. I want to get the other one straight. Then I go and move all the Google things that are supposed to defend Mark. Take it from there. So why am I reporting Mark?
Yeah, but we're coming back to the same thing I said before, Linford, because had these people, they never wanted to, how they call it, say, belittle our Justice Department. The first thing the SG would have done, we get the copy of that document, original copy, invite the lawyer from both sides, okay, invite the lawyers, set up a special counsel, go over that document, or the presiding judge of that document, read that document by him or herself, and then two, call all parties involved that I don't see anything that is wrong with this document. You understand? But these steps were never taken. And the reason they were never taken, as I said, they are all gangsters. Yeah.
And they were chasing one enemy. That's it. Okay. I don't think there is anything much to discuss about this one. So let's just go to the last point. That's some call a whole thing. What it says here, it says, sorry, let me throw Google. It says, well, point number 5, that is the summary points. It says, ultimately, the simple fact is that the framework document as filed with the NEC on 14 July 2020 had been duly reviewed, discussed, approved, endorsed, and signed by the relevant leaders of the constituent parties. So nothing was in secret.
Well, Linford, we said it all. Nothing was in secret. And because it was not in secret, you had people who just didn't want to go through the process. And because people were running away from competition, they decided to do something. They signed an agreement that if you leave, you're not fee your candidate until after 2020, 6 months after 2023 election. People were trying to break the rules. As usual in Liberia, we don't follow rules. And that's what they exhibit in this whole thing. And I think one of the brothers said about how educated people come together, they craft a beautiful document that they crafted nicely, and then later on decided to ignore that document. What does that say? It just shows how incompetent of those people who want to succeed George Weah. So what does that? You say you signed something, you didn't read it. With all the education and how can you sign a document you say you don't read? And then to go find out today, they were in a no. So the whole thing here is just a shameful business to those opposition that decided to side with the government. I would just leave it at that.
My conclusion, you're right, Paul, but my conclusion on this issue would be, to summarize this whole saga, it tells me that this was a calculated, strategic approach to have what would I say, to have cost distraction that will lead the whole CPP arrangement being one where Mr. Cummings or whoever was going to be the front runner, especially because he's been a target in here, to concentrate on something else while the CPP runs, or get him out of gear. The government took advantage of the opportunity for this, so that's why I say it's strategic. It wasn't just a mistake. What these guys done, it means it wasn't calculated. That's the only problem about it. Yeah. It wasn't a calculated strategic approach. They felt that this approach will be like you're going to fight war. You got different tactics you want to adopt. This is one tactic that apparently the very guys who were opposing Cummings within the CPP thought this will cause some problem, this will weaken him, this will bring him down. And the government to jump on that bandwagon to say, okay, if this is happening, we will be there. We will be the guys who will be looking after all of this. And what will happen in the process is they would have prolonged this case up until maybe almost elections. And you're on the same case, dragging one another. Why you're fighting? And then we go to election. Joshua win elections. And whoever initiated this thing get paid at the end of the day.
And let me add on to what Prince just said. You know, if you look at the CCP also, I believe Omen Boyka was cajoled like a little kid by the more within the CCP. You understand? There is a more in the CCP, and that more is easily to be pointed out. Who is the more? Bernard Ayure has been a more within the CCP. You understand? And he cajoled the old man into this particular nonsense behavior. You understand? And the old man too, he didn't see that coming, and up to now, he has not realized the destruction that it has caused on his character and the CCP image. He didn't see that coming. He fell into Bernard Ayure trap and going after his dear friend Cummings, named his son after Omer Boyka. You understand? So all these things, Omen Barker had he had a good advisory team. He got a lot of those young guys following him, pushing him here and there, and what to say. You understand? So I just want to end with that. The Omen was misled, and the more he played his game very well. He's gonna get his pay from George Weah, hopefully. Yeah, I end with that.
Okay. Let me get an answer. Paul is leaving us. He's got another very important engagement.
Yeah.
And so
Me too, Lenfo. I supposed to be part of that group, Lenfo.
And so are you leaving too?
Yeah.
Hold on, before can you check the background? You get somebody guest waiting on you. You're not looking. You've been there for a while.
Oh man.
Link for.
I'm told you're having a guest waiting.
My guess, okay, probably he may be on. Okay, let me see. Let me just find out. Okay, yeah, guys, Flo. Let me as I try to see if I can get his guest in.
Yeah, why are you getting a guest in? I might be leaving because I got a meeting that's going on now. I'm 15.
Okay.
I'm 15 minutes late.
It seems it's gonna be me alone concluding. But let me see if I can get a guest. I'm not getting him. Probably the board is phone, but I should be able to see him if he pops in. But guys, I'd like to say thank you very much for being with us. The rest of the topics that we got to discuss, I will take that alone. And probably if my guests, I think if you leave, there will be vacant room for the guests to pop up. And if the guests can hear me in the background, just keep trying. I'll see you, but I don't really see you here. But so let me say thank you very much to Paul, to Prince, and to Mark for your very beautiful contribution. And it's been a very successful discussion here. But don't go away, our viewers. We still have very important topics to come. I can take you through the topics that we got to discuss again. We got environmental hazards in Liberia, and there is serious problems. And so we need something to be done about it. And besides that, the next thing we'll be talking about is the danger of the CPP at loggerhead. What danger lies ahead if the CPP will continue to fight itself, okay? And also mental health problem. And those are things that we'll be discussing. So stay here and don't go away. And let's say goodbye to our panelists.
Yeah. Goodbye, guys.
It was nice having you guys.
Yeah, I have to leave now. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm going.
Okay, thanks so much. And let's just take a quick break and we'll be back. Okay, welcome back. My name is Linford Go, and this is the program, The Bottom Line. We come your way every Tuesday.
One sec, guys. I'm trying to get somebody on the bottom line.
Yeah, try to put a person on board because he's not anywhere in the background. Yeah, I don't see him. But this program comes on every Tuesday for now until we complete our technical adjustment in the time. And also we have a Saturday edition, which is solely about the ANC and Mr. Cummings. And so if you are sympathizer of the ANC, you can join us. But just before we go further, let me give you some information that is very important about the ANC. We will be having Mr. Alexander Cummings visiting Europe, all of Europe, and he's going to be, quote unquote, the first political leader in several years, because I was not born way back though, so I don't know if Tom Medden came yet, but he's going to be the first political leader in the wake of campaign time to visit Europe. You know, the rest of the people normally go to the United States, and that is understandable because a bulk of Liberians live where in the United States, with very few of us living in Europe, across Europe. So we've made an effort to contact Mr. Cummings to come and see us and talk to us. So he's going to be here on July 8th through the 9th, and there will be a series of occasions. The first day will be meet and greet, and then after the meet and greet, there will be a fundraising event on the next day, which is on a Saturday, July 9. And after that, there will be fun. We'll have football games. Somebody told me that Mr. Cummings has already started practicing. He'll be playing football. And so I think I just took my boots already. I tried to move the spider web for on it, but it looked like it can't fit me again. I got to buy new size. I used to wear 41, but right now I can wear 42. So I think my feet are growing bigger than my body. So Mr. Cummings is going to be our guest in July. And so if you live anywhere around Europe or even in America or somewhere around, and you want to have a good time, and let's have fun. Okay, back to our topic. Just to give my concluding statement on this report, the report that came out today, Liberian people, I'm talking directly to the Liberian people, those of you who are the voters, you see how the politics have been evolving, have been unfolding. Mr. Cummings is a threat to Josh Weah administration. Mr. Cummings is a threat to Mr. Boakai. Mr. Boakai knows that, you know, he feels that he can win Josh Weah, but he forgets to know that over the past after elections in 2017, there have been things happening, okay? And so he cannot solely depend on his vote of 2017 to think that he can single-handedly take on George Weah to win him. Remember, George Weah is the president, he got 6 coffers, he can put out as much money, and Liberia, the people are gullible, the people are hungry, the people need it, okay? So George Weah can throw money in their way. They will forget it, all the hard time they've been going through for the last 6 years, and will vote for him. But Mr. Cummings, not only for election, but after election, how your life will be. So Liberian people, forget about the little dollars that will throw your way. Forget about the bags of rice. Nathan Maggie had already started in my country. And let me tell you, I don't know why he chose Bonkante to start off. But let me tell you, people say the Pele people were stupid. No, we are just kind people. And if anybody got sense, if anybody if anybody in Liberia has got secret to keep, if anybody in Liberia, for those of my Pele people here, if I lie, right under here and say you lie, but if anybody in Liberia has got any secret to keep, if they are very secrecy, if they are very deep in their heart, the Pele people, trust me, we are very deep. We'll show you our white teeth, but you will not know what's beyond that white teeth. So you thinking because people say, oh, the Pele people stupid, let's go start in Bonkante, we'll give them money. Look, apart moi d'abord jangai kachung kami kalivodi kai kaga klingasia tinama kaga klingasia sama jangala dead kaposai kaga klingasia ma kaga. So what I'm trying to say is to our Pele people, when they bring the money to you people, you're eating that your own money, but you should not think about today. Yeah, you'll eat today, but tomorrow what will happen to you after the voting? Why didn't come all these days after 6 years now? After 5 years, that is 6 years, okay, I'll put it in mano too. Oh, no, pele kaka pie ka sense kunka ble ke kara fo ke kaka yineta to win ke kaka yineta no no pamo because ka nye fo ke mo no to lebi wa pele no kale le ka fo ke le ka osino droye lo see. So this is how versatile we Bonkante people are. I can even go to Basel if I want to. So what I'm trying to say here is that our voters, be wise, be careful. They will kind of throw all the money your way. But why is it now after 2017? So when they came to you guys, 2017, and they lied to you, you voted for them. After 2017, you can't eat. Oh, you not get money to send your children to school. After that, oh, until after 5 years, going to 6 years before they come back again. That alone tells you, you go, you lie to the woman, you pregnant her. The woman take better, then you deny the better. Then the woman born. The woman suffer with the baby, When the baby walk, then you get again, you go. You tell the woman, oh, you know, that time we're joking, man. But this time now, when you get pregnant, I will take charge. You know, then you fool her, you pregnant her again, then you run away. You see, that's why they drink to you. The thing say you are stupid. No. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know why Magay, of all persons, chose Bonkante of all places to start. Because they got a funny saying that Pele people stupid. We're not stupid. But we are so many people who are very kind in Liberia. And let me tell you, our kindness, do not override our kindness. Okay? Do not override our kindness. And like it's really I'm really on fire. So I gotta wear my face. I'm telling you, I'm really on fire today. But let me come to our voters. Be wise in your voting. See, the whole group going after Mr. Cummings. And the report that came out today tell all the people today that were no case. That they lie on the man because they scared of him. You know, they scared of him. So they feel that the United Party is scared. Okay, you're saying Mr. Cummings not popular. You'll go to something we call primary that is inside your own house, you'll go vote there. Okay? But you'll say no. So if you're scared to vote inside your own house to choose your leader who will represent you on the outside, if you're like all of in the time you'll say, or you're in the time you'll say, yeah, we're strong, we can fight. And we sort of go fight other people in the other time. But then the people say, okay, so all of us say we're strong, you're not going to test strength. The men who will beat all the other people in the time here, that the men will train out to go fight the other people in the other time. Then the strong men are who all depending on that time say no. You're yelling me, let me go. No, can't fight all the small people. When you beat them, they will let you go. But you can't get and say you want to represent all when we try your strength. So the women scared. Okay? Just not in the CPP. In United Party, when they all of them they start jumping, all want to play. Give it that seat in a United Party man. Because they scared of primaries. You see it? So the like of mayor take to go care Georgia. And Liberians, you don't want to go that way. You don't want to go 12 years suffering. I mean, you love yourself. No. The first law of nature is what? Self-preservation. Preserve your own life first. If 4 people traveling, all of them 4 or 4 in the water, you'll not be inside the water, you start saving people, you fight hard. You get on the show before you start saving the other people. In your 10 people in jail, they say free 10 people, you make yourself number 1. You get yourself fight before you start counting 2, 3, 4, 5. So in other words, your life is important life. Why? Because it belongs to you. So you can't be voting the same people all the time and then your life remains the same. Mr. Cummings say, no, this is not possible. Okay, that's enough. But let me just tell you one thing before I go. I'm not a spokesman for Ponkante, but this is how much I know about Ponkante, about Pele people. And Ponkante is not only Pele people. We got Pele, we got Bassa, we got all tribes in Ponkante, even the Loma people we got there. If you go to every border, okay? You go to Bassa border, we got the Bassa people. You go to Nimakande border, where I come from, you got the Mano people. We got people. You go to we got the Loma people. So Ponkante is a mixture of people. So you can't think that we're stupid, that you think you can fool us. No. And let me tell you, you got Ponkante vote simply in the past election, simply because of Joe. How the paradigm has shifted. The paradigm has shifted. And we can assure you that Ponkante is not going to go that route again. The people of Ponkante, they are proud people. My people, when I would say Banga, that was the lifeline of Central Liberia. Even during the wartime, people in Banga were still supplying Greater Liberia. There was Sokovia. People who come from Montreal to come buy food in Banga. So Ponkante is not just a place you can play, it's not a playground. Naturally, Maggie, take your money and carry it back. But if you want, they will take it and they will eat it. That I can't lie to you. But we are not stupid people. Don't think that you can go and play around. But the final of us is we need money. That's true. They bring the money, their own money. Maggie will poor you. Sorry. Joya will poor us. When did they get money? Show me Nathan Maggie farm where he got rubber farm, he got cocoa farm, or he getting money from nowhere. That your taxpayer money, the money that's supposed to come to you, they take it and can food. You get it, you say your own grease fry you. You saw grease, but you don't know. You see, pig, you need oil to fry pig, but your own grease can fry it. So they take your own money and bring it to you and fool you away. Take it, you eat it. Time to vote, go look for Mr. Cummings and vote for him. Try somebody new. Mr. Cummings got idea. They may work in the international, in the women home. The women believe in him. If women, that thing we can do in Liberia, they call who know you. Women know it better than any of us. Women know who know you more than Liberian people. The women will work with the person he know. Okay? Women will not, if women bring company in Liberia, the women when they bring company in Liberia, you think they will go stand on Broad Street and grab it and say can't go work. No, who knows something, who they think know what they want. And those of us that live in the women country, I live in Norway. So if I go to Liberia and one Norwegian company can, I speak Norwegian, okay? And a Norwegian company can, if me and one Joe Blow go there, the moment we enter, I start to speak Norwegian, the Norwegian may not pay attention to that Joe Blow. You look at me. Why? Because they're looking for somebody who they know. Mr. Cummings work in the international community. Coca-Cola is not small community. It's all world Coca-Cola. Everywhere in the world. So Mr. Cummings work with recognized company. So the white man, and he serves almost other company boards. Okay, a decision. So if he becomes president of Liberia, he can bring some of those companies and say, look, my people, you come. My people need help. You come build my country. You're bringing a company. You're opening this thing. But you go take one in the past who got no contract, international contract. He came to America. They were taking him around to donut shop to eat donut. They gave him energy drink to drink. I'm not bringing the old man down. It's not a fault. But there are people who pushing him in between the line. They are not doing it in his interest, but they're doing it in their own interest. Okay? But that will be another discussion for another time. But let's go to our next topic here. Fast spent. Let's go to our next topic. The next thing here is the environmental hazard. I'm sorry, I don't have the pictures that I saw today. I think all of you, most of somewhere in Grand Cape County, Kinjo. And you know, some of the best fish in the ocean and in the cold water come from Grand Cape County. People, this company called I'm so excited. The ninja slip on my. But this company is polluting the water to the point where when I was small, I remember people used to have some chemical when they washing the water and you go downstream, you see a lot of dead fish. Okay, and that fish, it will begin to get 30 minutes. That was a very dangerous chemical. I still remember that chemical. It was like small, round stuff, like very small. Okay, they can damage the ecosystem in the water, and that when the fish living, you got some plants that don't live on the shore. They only live in the water, and those fish that you see living in particular in some part of the other areas in the water. Okay, so if you destroy the water, the fish, and the fish, they got their own work to do. Try to bring some environmental students from the UL. They will come to be some of our guests here to explain some of these things to you, so you can understand. The fish you see in the water, if you got a river with a lot of fish, and those fish live in that river, you get to know that the fish are the ones that clean our water. They clean the mud from that water because they need appetite. That is somewhere to live. Now, if you move all this, I'm giving you this example because I realized it happened in my own little town in County. We had this little river around the town coming from somewhere far off, passing through our town, going and joining the St. John River, right? And when I was a kid, I remember we used to have catfish, we used to have pee fish in our water, and we used to go fishing with hope. And our mother then used to go fishing with net, and we'd be behind them, catching the fish and putting it in a small basket and stuff like that. I still remember well. And that was fish. I mean, as small as some of us were, we used to carry our hook and we would take fish one, and we got enough fish. But what happened? The fish apparently got finished in the water. Water today, the whole water dried out. There is no more. I mean, a river that is so full and get full and kind of time. The whole river dry out because it all full with what? Mud. The sediments. When I read, you see the rainwater going, it not just going, dump somewhere in some river or in some water. So all those sand, the dirt, the leaf from offshore will go. When the fish are not there to clean it up, you soon find out that our whole water will get full, and when you look, it's no more water. It's no more water. So that's what happened to our. And as of today, as I'm talking to you, you can't even see. I know the smallest fish. Some small thing used to be with small fish with pH. You can't see it in our water anymore. And it's no okay. When it rain, the whole place get flat. There was no river there. So this is the ecosystem. The fish got their own work to do. Some of the plants in the water that want the fish live on, and some of the plants in the water to for the fish to live. So if it damage those kind of things, it will go a long time. And I will share one story with you also. My town is situated on the St. John County side, and the St. John River divides us and Nima County. And because of the mining process that have been taking place in Nima County from the 60s, from the early 60s until now, they damaged the St. John River to the point where it becomes very red in the rainy season. In the dry season, it's a little bit clear, yeah. But in the rainy season, the water becomes that if you take it in a glass, you can't see through it. If you take it in pen, you can't see the bottom of that cup or whatever. Okay, and so certain species of fish do not live there. It's very hard to see fish with scale living in the place where I come from. What type of fish there? We got one fish that look like catfish. They call it catfish, but it got the fin on the back. You got two fins here and one on the back. Very, very rude fish. If you take it with a hook and you grab it, it will choke you. The other type of fish that are very slippery, but that one doesn't live to the surface. They live deep down. So we do fishing there with long rope, maybe I don't know how many meters. Okay, and that fish is very seldom you find them. So the point I'm trying to destruction of the ecosystem is a serious thing. Okay, that alone can cause serious damage to plant life, animal life. So the government will have to do something. In Grand Cayman County, we saw the people, it's around the King John area. Okay. And the people to go to another place. Can you imagine? You don't have war. You don't have farming. There's no natural disaster like some flood, tornadoes, or some heavy wind or something. But because people are making money to benefit them, and then they have to poison your livelihood. And water is very important for several weeks, but you cannot go without water for 7 days. You die. Water is very important, and not even 7 days. Depends on your own body resistance. We can drink water. We're supposed to drink. I don't know how many glasses of water a day, but sometimes I forget to drink it, and because I live in cold country. But in Liberia, where it's hard like that, you get water to drink. That's something. And why are they moving? Okay, simply because other people making profit, and they have to be the victims, and our government is not doing anything to curtail some of these things. The people of Nima County and Bon County and part of Paso County as a whole will have to live with that effect of the destruction of the St. John River for all their lifetime. And I was born and saw the St. John River. I saw it red. So my thought was all big rivers are red. Not until when I saw all the rivers, I said, but how come one of the river is red, brown, nobody, other people unclear, you can see through it, you know. Now what I got to know that is because of the mining activities of Nima County. So can you imagine? So all the kids, okay, take a kid from a town or from the surrounding towns there, used to see this red water or brown water and take them to another place. They will be confused like I did because they don't know. They got no reference point. See, all they will know is that, oh yeah, all the rivers are brown. And to the point where we used to go fishing, when you walk on the bank of that river, all you brown because the dust. You know, when the water gets full, it gets brown. All the leaves will hold the brown dust. And when it gets dry, in the dry season, when you walk in the dust, man, you know. So the government will have to do something about these companies. When they come, when they're doing these things, and I remember last year somewhere where the military people were in Ghana somewhere, the military people were actually arresting this Chinese company that were dumping waste material into the river that the people drink. They arrested them, okay? And sometimes, I don't know, we do it out of desperation. Are we so desperate for money? Or is it that we just don't care for our own health? No. I live in Europe here. At least my part of Europe, Norway here. Right behind my house here, there's a river. That river is as clean as what? The only thing you see in that river that leaves, the leaves are fall in it. And the part right down here where we use during the summer for swimming and whatever, They got machine that will go and clear all the leaves that come downstream from in that water. You will not find paper, let alone dirt in that water. But look at Liberia, look at Monrovia. Do River, as beautiful as Do River is, that river should be making money out of that river. Okay, you should have boats. No, I've been to Thailand many times. And in Thailand, one thing, that whole city, Bangkok, is situated on the water. And every time I go there, one of my favorite is to get, though that water is not that clean too, there are third world countries like us, it's not that clean, but they make use of it. One thing I know is they don't defecate inside like we do in Liberia. They don't throw day by inside. They're not taking all the plastic there, all the garbage and dumping it inside. No. Okay. Their water is dirty, I agree, but it's not as dirty as ours. They don't dirty it intentionally. It's dirty because of the leaves and other things that come inside. Okay. But one of my favorites in Bangkok is to pay some money, you get on several boats. So you will select which one you want to get on. And you will select the time. The boat goes around the city for complete 2 hours, depending on the time arrangement. And on that boat, you eat free. The only thing you pay for is the drinks. You eat free. They'll bring no pee, roasted fish. I mean, you know, so then I imagine why we can make use of our Do River. Get a boat, start from Waterside with tourists on board, they eating and drinking. It's a bar, it's like a restaurant on the water. Eating and drinking, you carry them all the way. I don't even know where the Do River going, but you go past Jalatan, where I used to live behind LU. Then you go on the other side, go to Tommy Highway there. I think you can connect to Ghana's-Ville. Then you can go, you can connect to Ghana's-Ville and pass the freeway and go to the other side, you know, somewhere. I don't know the map too good. But the point I'm making is that that's a natural blessing. Thing that people make money. It will create all of these things as tourist attractions. It will create jobs. You will not have people who call Zogo. And let me tell you, every country, even America, could have a Zogo. Norway could have a Zogo. Sweden could have Zogo. Germany could have Zogos. If the facilities were not available at their disposal. In Norway, sorry, we got a law, we just joke, you know, we made joke about it. We say we got a law that nobody's supposed to get sick and die. Because what? You get a facility, you got an opportunity to go to a hospital. You don't need money to pay. You say call a hospital, it's in the night, I'm gonna call a hospital, maybe 1 or 2 ambulances, the nearest one will come, they will take me and carry me. Okay? I pay taxes for that. They will not tell me you can't pay before we treat you, no. In Norway, you can't be hungry and die. The social help will help you if you don't have money. So you got to create an opportunity for your people. That's why people pay taxes, or that's why you have the natural resources. But people will enrich themselves. Now they take the money and keep it. Time for election, they start to go to divide the money up for people to vote for them. That is unfair to the citizens. But again, I don't blame the government officials. You know why? Because we, the citizens, have created that condition for ourselves. We have placed ourselves into that predicament that, you know, we just accept our fate. Okay, yeah, we're supposed to sit down for 6 years. When we let them, they bring in one burger, we eat it 1 week time or 1 day time. We and our children, we sit down. Then we hustle on our own in the next 6 years while their children are going to good schools, while their wives are giving birth to their children in foreign countries, but your wife is dying right behind the house under the banana tree because of childbirth. Okay, but you accept it. Then you wait until next, after 5 more years, they bring one burger right to you, then you go vote for them again. You got a power in your hand. No, our constitution tells us that we, the citizens, we got a power. It means that we'll go fight, we'll go throw a blow, or we'll go take colors and chat people. No. The power is in a ballot box. The power is inside the ballot box. And the good thing, you know, yeah, we're missing opportunity. Let me tell you, you're stronger than George Weah. You're stronger than the president. You one person, you that one voter is strong. You know what? When you go in that ballot box, no security there. Nobody there to whisper in your ear, vote for Trump. No. that you alone, your conscience, you and your conscience are there. So think, what have they done for me since I voted for them last time? What is this other person telling me? What can they do for me? Think. But some of you, the problem is some of you will get drunk. Even the voting day, you will get drunk, you go vote. You will not even be thinking you'll be drunk. You go vote. Okay? I didn't know that, Eric, that the Do River goes all the way to Marshall. I didn't know, you know. So can you imagine? Okay, so like Eric is saying here, and you know, Marshall is closer to RIA, right? You get a boat. You get all boats commuting between RI and I think the Do River also go Ghana Bay to beyond Do community and all the other places. The water all over the place. So you get those several boats. Let's just take the one from Marshall. You got tourists coming. They've been on the plane all night or all day. They arrive. You got Texas parking. They say, no, sir, we can take you to the boat. You relax, you drink some stuff and eat, and then we'll take you to Monrovia on a very cool boat. Can you imagine how much money you will make? We'll be generating funds, but we don't think that way. Our people will dump there in the Do River. They'll put all the day by the go dump in the anybody die from the Navnicha, they'll go dump in the Do River. So all the men left in water. What somebody will be doing to go live in Do River? You'll go look at Do River, join inside and go die there. You know, down the show, that in Do River, you go die. Young people will get and go die in Do River. You know, so our people, we don't think for ourselves. So election time, somebody will get drunk, you'll go for, you'll forget, you'll even know whoever you'll vote for, that, hey, you're not thinking about yourself. See, people are not thinking. This is where the politicians read your mind. They know that after 6 years, they will come to you and you'll vote for them. So they can do anything with you. They don't care. You vote, then they go. What you go do? Then your own person who in chair, then you go to an office and go back. You're standing. Tell like one office. You know, my children never hear. Who says so? No. I live in the country. Whenever I got to know some of the politicians in the country that are on TV, the PB ones, and where I live, the town I live in, I'm in one of the political parties, the second largest political party. This is how I even got to know some of our own politicians within the town here. Okay? But we're all equal. You see, the guys are simple. They ain't got no political behind them, nothing. Our political leader here ain't got no political behind him, nothing. We all go, we meet in the street, we stand, we talk, we discuss small political part. They may go to the supermarket, we meet, we talk. I meet him in the park right behind my place, we talk. Okay? Can you imagine? Liberia, you got one Joe Blow with 10 bodyguards. The bodyguard, the man leader, he can't say he bodyguard for somebody, he even got food to eat. All of that, you put strain on yourself. You should be doing something. So the government will have to do something about this pollution of our environment, not only the water. They also polluting other areas. They're digging all the holes and living there in Liberia, extracting all our minerals, our gold. And they kind of company they can count. The Turkish company. I've been to Istanbul. I've been to Istanbul. Those are cities in Turkey. I've been to Istanbul. I've been to Istanbul. Okay, the people, overcrowded people. You know what most of the Turkish people do? They sell food in the street. If you go to that country, they run it behind you with a cook food like this. You know, running in the street, food sellers. That the kind of people you got extracting our gold and carry it. You can check some of these companies. Okay, and I swear, really, like bro, we got big problem. Our problems it started from day one. Not now, it started from a long time. Because our leaders don't make sound decisions. Okay, we lay that to rest. We leave it like that and let the government act. If the government cannot act, you are the voters, you all should act. The power is in your hand. Read chapter 1 of your constitution. The power is in your hand. They didn't say you should go fight in the battle, but you can use your power right to the battle path. And no, next time you'll see how the politician will come crawling under your feet if you do know. It's just that you don't know, but you got power. Okay, let's go to the next one here. The CPP. Many people say the CPP has broken away or is having confusion. and other parties have broken away from the CPP. But with all of this, I call it halubalu or confusion in the CPP, what is the danger that lie ahead of all of us, whether you CPP member or you not CPP member? What is the danger that lie ahead of us? Let me drink some water. Sorry, my throat is dry. The danger that lie ahead of us with this confusion in the CPP, from my own perspective, is that Liberia will not change. Sorry. Liberia will not change. If we continue to do things the way we do things. Politicians, everybody in the country cannot be politicians. So those of you who are politicians, you have placed yourselves in that position that you can make decisions on the behalf of the rest of the citizens who will trust you with their power, which is the vote that they have. Imagine, let's look at this scenario. Imagine a country where everybody is the president. Nothing good will happen. Imagine a country where there is no president. Nothing good will happen. Imagine a country where everybody is the senator, the representative, everybody. Nothing will happen. Something will happen, but not good thing. So those of you who have placed yourselves in that position as the people's representatives, making them to believe that you can make sound decisions for them, making them to believe that you can represent them, making them to believe that you have the ideas to govern them. Since everybody cannot be president, they say, okay, let's put our trust in these people or in this person to lead us. This is why the people vote for you. But if you think that these people are voting for you and you can just treat them any kind of way, you take them for granted, you are doing the biggest disservice to your nation and to your people. But again, who to blame? The people. Because the people are not making wise decisions. And the thing I don't understand about the vote, when you go to vote, nobody's putting gun to your head and say vote here. No, you are at liberty, free. That you free like bat. And then we used to say, you free like bat. You are there alone. You're not looking over your shoulder. Oh, somebody. No. Okay. So when you go to that voting booth, think about your own safety, your own well-being, your children's well-being. And place yourselves in a position as leaders, political leaders. You should also consider these people. On your way up, be kind to the people you meet. Because on your way down, there are the same people you see. You can't climb a ladder and move the ladder from under you. You see, sometimes I wonder what happens to people when they get to power. And in fact, I was reading somewhere where it says power is not good for anybody. I used to think I only blind them, but for all people, power is not good. And money also is not good. Don't get me wrong, money can buy anything. Not everything though, but you can buy a lot of things. But money is not good for people. Because if you get money, you use it for bad influences. You use it to get power. And if you get power and you don't get money, you use the power to get money. By all means. And that's what we see in our country. So the CPP, as it stands, if it continues, or if our political leaders, not only the CPO, but in the future, if our political leaders will continue to do these kind of things, betray the people's trust, the country will go nowhere. For now, if the CPP continues, people taking each other to court, who stands to win? George Weah. And let me tell you, if George Weah has not been sure of his second term presidency, now he is sure. Somehow, oh yes, Cummings is in court. Oh yeah, Buakai and the CPP, the Unity Party, they are in court for essay clause. Cummings is in court for forgery. And so disintegration in the CPP. And so George Weah cannot relax. He goes to the park, amuse himself. Those of you who voted for him, you pay $5 to go to the park. And some of you will not even afford $5. The best you will see of that park is the sign, Invincible Park. If you pass in front of it. But ask yourself, say you voted 4 or 5 years ago, what has changed in your life? Yes, changes may have taken place. I agree, because you can't tell me nothing has changed. Either your condition have become worse. You used to cook 4 cups of rice, but now you can only cook 3. That's a change. So cook 4 cups of rice, now you can cook 5. That's a change. So your individual question you should be asking yourself is, what significant change that has taken place? Or what are those changes that have taken place in my life? Okay, individually. Try to catalog what it used to be. Make a list now, compare, benchmark. So the CPP fighting each other. There's no one winner. George Weah. And whom are the losers? In that Buakai was vice president for 12 years. He got a lot of money. In that Cummings got money that he can live on. In that Benona get air farm. He got Lone Star company. He's selling telephone cars. But you, the poor people, you are the losers. Why? Because that very much change, that needed change that you deserve will not come your way. And so you will always be beggars at the gate and wait for the representatives to come in, Capitol building, then you go, then you claim, then they tell a man to sit down and wait for me. When they were coming to you for election, campaigning, they were not telling you to sit down and wait, though. Or you were not telling them to sit down and wait. The moment you see them coming, you bring chair, you sit down, and then they open that bell and give you something. Fast transaction. But after you put it there, when you go to say, tell a man to wait. You wait. Until later on you get tired, you go home. You start walking. And as you're walking, I used to be in Liberia, no? I was broke sometimes. You walk, you imagine your distance. The one you are called, then the one ahead of you. You start, yeah, I think I can make it because I not come this far. Okay. You know, I think I can make it. You know. I was not that poor. I was not that broke in Liberia, though. I was not that poor too. Because at least I knew my way around. But some of you, my brothers and sisters, you do not have the means. You can make your way around. God first, we used to try to make our way around. I made my way around. I was a journalist, so I knew what to do. I have a few friends out there that I could reach to. But some of you, you can make it. So the only strength you have, my friend, the only thing that you have, my friend, to offer yourself is the choices that you make, the decisions that you make to benefit you. And that decision can be made at the ballot box. There you are alone, no EPU made there, no EPS or EPA wedding, there to tell you what to do. You decide. And your decision will go a long way in determining whom you will be in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So not forget about yourself. Think about your child or your children. You know, some people will say, me, I own a but what about your children? You know, life is long. Imagine you being born from day 1 all the way to 50 years. There's some of us. Then above 50, start claiming. Life is long. So you don't take chances. You don't gamble your future. You don't leave your future open to other people to decide for you. And guess what? You know, there's a parable, you know, my friend said, my friends on the show that they say, oh, they'll give parable. But sometimes I give these parables so that people will compare. If you're eating with oil, know what I'm going to talk about. The green banana, when you roast it, the green banana, that banana, the plantain, you roast it, it becomes dry, then scrape it, or then you get a real oil, you juke it inside. When you break up plenty and juke in the real oil, you think you're juking somebody else more? No, you're juking in your own mouth first. So you can't juke in the oil. You can't take out that plantain, roast that dry plantain, and juke it in the oil and go look for somebody mouth to put it there. You put it in your own mouth. What am I trying to say? All the people that are coming to you, they want you to vote for them. When they get their paycheck, who they can bring it to? They bring it to you? No. They carry it to their house. They go to the supermarket to go buy. I see somebody. Yeah, that's true. When you break up that dry plantain, that scrape it good, that roasted dry plantain, brown, and it can taste good already also. You scrape it, you remove all the ashes from it, then you break it in the half, and you get in the real oil, it also get good. You go look for Joe Brown to put in your mouth. No, you put in your own mouth first. So all the people that are coming to you, when you voted for Joe, they for the 9 houses he built, who he built for you? No. But yes, someone is standing there, oh, the man barely hot. But where you living? You living so anyway. In fact, some of you living on your money flow. Then the money you get, you go, how say? No. My friend, you see, so now we're talking like this because we have seen the other side. We're not trying to make fun out of you, or we're not trying to get ridicule you. You are human. You can think, you can decide. But we are giving you, because some of you live in Liberia, you got no reference point. The only thing that you know is what you see around you every day. So for those of us who are privileged to be outside, and we have seen other sides of things, because we can compare. I can compare Liberia to where I live. I can compare, I've been almost all over Europe. I can compare European countries. I can compare Norway with Germany, France, Serbia, and all these places. Ukraine, beautiful Ukraine. Okay, I can compare all these places. But where you can compare somewhere, the hall you're living in and Broad Street. There are only 2 places you can compare. So we have come and seen all the things, how things happen. And we try to educate you, but still you have to grab it. You don't want to grab it because your mind have been made up. Sometimes when I talk to people in Liberia, they say, our mind have been made up. How silly that sounds. So your mind have been made up that you can't change. Our mind made up to suffer. That's the kind of thing I interpret. Your mind made up for what? My friend. You think my mind can be made up too? But my mind has become flexible. Why? Because I've seen things. I got reference points. Okay? Now, the people who your minds are made up for, comparison, there's something called KPI or KPIs. Capital K, capital P, capital I, then you RS, make it plural, KPIs. Okay? And what are the performance indicators? Those people that you want to make president, okay? What is your comparison? What have they done? What do you think they can do? What have they performed? What can they show you? What is the to say, okay, I can do this, or I can let them do. No, you gotta have KPI, you gotta set up KPI, which is your benchmarking. Compare. But you go one John Brown, you gotta say John Brown have been working in government for years. Yeah, John Brown have been working in government for years. But what have John Brown done different? That you know. John Brown have been doing the same thing over and over. So if you put John Brown there, try new things. Life is all about changes. Many years ago, all of you under my voice here, or those of you on the internet, I might even have access to house telephone. Especially elite people. Then it transformed, change scheme. People start having house telephone. Change scheme, mobile phone scheme. Change scheme, internet scheme. Change scheme, cell phone scheme. And my late father he used to take a cell phone and go on the phone and he call me. He said, I just want to enjoy this technology. At least I lived and saw this technology. So life is all about changes. That you will program your mind and make your mind very stagnant. You make your mind very, very inactive, very, very kinetic, inactive. That our minds are made up. Your minds are made up to suffer. Come on, man. Come on. At least for God's sake, man. We live. We have seen changes. Not that, if my great grandfather from 100 years ago would come and tell me this thing, I will agree with him because there is nothing he sees. There is nothing he knows to compare. But look around you. Some of you surprise me, Liberians, especially the young people. You have the opportunity to, some of you get 2, 3, in Europe here, all of them one phone. But Liberia is the only country where you see one job low, who didn't get a job, he ain't got nothing, he got 2, 3 cell phones. Okay? So all the cell phones you got, go on your internet, Google, you can sit there anywhere and get any information. Google Paris. Google Taiwan. Google all the major cities in the world and see what they look like. Then Google, like, in fact, you gotta Google, like, bro. Go on Broad Street, stay on Broad Street. When you Google Washington, D.C. or New York, where you can stay at a street crossing, you can stand there and see as far as from Broad Street to almost at one street end. Okay? With all the high-rise buildings. Google it and compare Monrovia with those countries. And see what we're talking about. That you tell me your minds are made up, to still be who the Asian people were. It surprises me. I can't get away. I'm not trying to just all Liberia. My own family people can tell me our minds are made up. Can you imagine? Our minds are made up. Your mind are made up to suffer, to be the same person 1,000 years ago. And let me tell you, there is no opportunity greater than what you have now. And if you don't make use of it, I'm sorry. So for you voters, when you go, let me tell you, I'm particularly talking about Mr. Cummings, because this is one man that we live in a women country, right? And the reason why sometimes we that are in the diaspora always talk for Mr. Cummings, some of you don't understand. We may not be necessarily registered ANC people. No, what Mr. Cummings is capable of producing. We live here in a white man country. To compete with a white man and go as hard as Mr. Cummings went, my friend, you must work extra hard. You must prove yourself. The white man got many ways of holding we Africans, we black people down. Okay, forget about black Americans. I mean, they were born here in America. Okay, forget about our children were born here. They were born here. The white man can have small sympathy on them because they know their origin. But you and myself working from way in the Congo and came to white man country for you to compete with them and go hard, my friend. They get several ways to block you. Trust me, several ways to block you. One, they will think you're not that qualified, you're not educated to that extent. Two, you can be equal to them. Three, you got nothing in this country to build up on. This is the people who this is where they came from. Everything about them is here. But you just come in, you got nothing. You even got chicken basket to lay your head in. Okay? You are at their mercy. They decide for you. If they say you're going home today, you're going home. So for Mr. Cummings to come and excel the height I went, my friend, you must be extra. And you must be, we're not saying that Cummings is this King Maris, called King Maris, where everything he touched turned to gold at the time. No, we're not talking about that. Cummings is not a King Maris. No. Okay? But this man, there is something about him that you don't know. It's a white man stupid to just look at this man from way Liberia of all country to just pushing. He not married to an American woman. He ain't got no American family. That these people trust him and push him up like that. Something is wrong. But Liberia put your heart on because your minds are made up to suffer. Liberia can't hear no man. They can't hear move from them. We're telling you, you'll change your mind. You'll vote right. You'll say no. But the next 6 years, you'll start crying again. And hey, the men are criminal. Then you go call an investigator to come. Yeah, the forensic result. Then when they kill somebody, you say you go bring foreign forensic investigator. You say you doubt yourself. Liberian, you're born to suffer, and that's why I'm a Liberian too. But you're just born to suffer. You got all the tools at your disposal to open your mind, to help you, but still you reject it. You go to school, you know how to read and write, you got internet, it can give you information, but still to suffer. So we are born to suffer. Okay. We'll close the curtain on our topic and we'll move to the last topic. The last topic here is mental health. This will be a very, very short one. The group of guidelines I brought today called Zogos. They are direct product of what we call mental health. And they classify them in two categories. We got the street Zogo, the one that are passing the street. Then we got the ones whose mind are made up. Program their minds. They have transformed their minds into being useless. So they tell you that when I tell them the truth, they say no. You tell them no. If you eat this thing, you die. You say no. My mind is made up. I'll eat it. Let me die. If you vote wrong, you'll suffer. Yeah, my mind is made up. I will suffer. Those are mentally deranged Zogos. Mentally, what can I say? Impaired Zogos. You are mentally impaired. I mean, seriously, can't you look at it? Look at it point to point. I mean, I'm not here to insult anybody, but I'm telling the fact. It could be me too. That somebody will tell you this is right. You say, no, my mind is made up. This is wrong, but I will do it. You are mentally impaired. And impairment is certain disability that makes you not to be active, not to be incapacitated. You are mentally incapacitated. Problem. That this is wrong, but you say, yeah, my mind is made up, I'll do it. Regardless of the consequences, I'll do it. They say, don't come. You see the train coming, don't worry. The train try to say, me, I'll walk there. You think you sound? Tell me. When the train hits you, you die. You say, I'll walk there. Or the high tension on the train track, okay, you say, no, I'll go there. My mind is made up. You are mentally impaired. You got mental issues. This is what happened. Now, they are on to the extreme. They got mental issues because they do drugs. And the drugs will reduce their capacity of thinking. Now, you got three types of brains. Okay? You got three types of brains. You got the cerebellum, the medulla, and I forgot my biology, right? But the three types of brain, one make you to think, one helps your whole regulatory system, then the other one, especially one at the back, the medulla or something, okay, or the cerebrum, that one balances you. It keeps your balance. All you biology students, you can name anything for me. I forget it. Another, I didn't know it. Okay, I used to love biology for many years. I've not been reading biology for years. Probably I need to Google it. Let me be Googling it while we're talking. See, since I'm talking, you got all the tools at your disposal. Anything you want, you can get it. Any information you want, you can get it. So let me find the three types of brains. Okay, I'll find it and we'll discuss it. But while I'm finding it, I just want to let you know that the three types of brains, one of them is responsible to keep your balance. Okay, to keep your balance. The three types of brains. Okay, let's look at it. What kind of people word and the people bring here as well? Let me see if I can find it here. I can find I need to read more down here about they're talking about Basa, Galangia, and limbrick system and neocortex, all the BB words. But the three types of brain. One of them is that's why when you drink, before you drink, you are normal, you can balance, you can step on one foot, you can walk straight. But the moment you start drinking, that brain, that part of the brain that's supposed to balance, keep your balance, gets weaker. So then that's why the drunken man can always go like this. So if you couple that drinking, or you take anything that is even stronger than liquor, than the drugs, that's why the soldiers behave like that. You see them walking like this, they can't balance, they can't think anymore. The other type of the part of the brain that's always make you think well, it get weaker too. All get affected at the same time. The whole brain get affected at the same time. You can't think straight, you can't balance, and so you can do anything. That's mental health issues. And this is a social issue. When they are not afraid anymore, they can commit any crime. And in Europe here, we are not allowed to drink and drive. Because why? If you drink and drive, your ability to think, your ability to judge will diminish very tremendously. The curve that you use to drive under normal circumstances, carefully in, when you reach there, you think, oh, I can make it on 90, 100. Because why? No more fear. Your ability to think has reduced. Your fear, your fear determinant has become so reduced that you think you are above there, So you are not allowed to drink and drive here. So the accident rate, if you are a drunkard, the accident rate for drinking is very minimal in this country. People can have accident for speeding, yes, I agree. But to say a drunken man is having accident, very rare. Because you drink and drive, your license is gone. Simple. Like, nobody got to tell you. And how much do you use to get a license? You use pretty close to if you smart enough, you use pretty close to $5,000 to get one license. Your first time getting license is conditional, because if you mess up anytime, they can withdraw it until you get permanent license. Okay, and that is like after 5, 6, 7 years with no case, then you get permanent license. Then my license is my birthday in 2086. Will I reach 2086? I hope I can reach 2086. Okay, my birthday in 2086. No, 2083. Yeah. Okay, 2083. So I wish I could see that time. Okay, so mental health is a complicated issue. It affects everybody. Let me get read what this Ruth Wingber is writing here. It's very important too. She said, if this is not concerning or breaking news to Liberians, I want to know what is our concern for a whole generation of newborns coming into this world without protection, no BCG. That is the vaccine that all newborns are supposed to take for against tuberculosis, and also polio vaccines in a country since general. What is the function of the Ministry of Health? Who has the Committee on Health in the state? Well, these are issues that we're supposed to be looking at. But all those things that are separate discussions, that we can take on another time, Ruth. It's good that you brought this one up. I mean, all children born in this country, they have to take all these vaccines, to the point where sometimes, I get tired carrying the children. And here is, you're not going there. They will force you, because they will take a phone and call you. If you're supposed to go tomorrow, they will start calling you day before yesterday to remind you. Today, they will call you. Then tonight, they will send you text. Early morning, if you're supposed to be there 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you're getting text. You're supposed to go. 5 minutes before you're there, you can be sent to the doorstep, they're calling you. They will do it. Because they know it's all about protection. Because, if you are infested, you can also infest the next person. So it's not there for you, but the rest of the people. So people are very careful with that. But, the mental health issue we're talking about. People in Liberia take it for fun. But then what happened? When the Zogo go and start attacking people, a lot of people will die. Okay? Some people that turn around Zogo, they had an opportunity from the start not to make them Zogo, but they didn't do anything. So, finally, this mental health issue is a serious issue. The government should do something about it. And let me tell you, some of those people, they go beyond. I'm not a medical practitioner, but I think some of those people go beyond the point where they can be. They are going beyond. And, mental health. This is a dangerous thing about doing drugs and all that thing. You can go beyond the point of return. You can no more return. So they got people like that here too. They got drug users here. So what they do is the government take responsibility for them. The Ministry of Health, people are assigned to, they take them there to a minister, I think, or marked version of the drug that they are used to, that they are addicted to. They use it to administer it onto them to relax their system. Because they use this drug, if they don't have it, they will commit crime or something will happen to them. So they got a mild version. I think I'm not too sure. I'm just saying it because I know that they on some drug that these people that the government take them from the street and on certain kind of drug. I don't know what is that, but they administer something to them to stabilize their condition a little bit. And you see that when this thing is coming out of them, I remember I was in Sweden and one huge guy broke away, man, from that center, from that rehabilitation center. And people came, they were asking us, say, your black people are strong. I can't go, tell it, man, I mean, they say we're strong. So we'll go catch it, man. Talking about huge guy, almost 2 meters plus. Huge guy that guy grab and throw me. I look at the guy and say, my man, I told my friend, I say, you're good on me, I'm not there. You see? So these people, they can get affected very badly. And so the government will have to do something. You got to clear the street of them. But our time is fast spent. And I want to say thank you very much for being here. We had a very fruitful discussion. And for those of you who have laid your hands on this Alaco and Omnia, please try to share it and read it thoroughly. Read it. My people, read it. Nobody can explain to you better than your brain can do. Your brain will explain things to you better than I can do. I'll try to tell you something, but your brain, if you read it, whatever you have seen before, whatever you have read, you will not forget it easily. So don't just do it normal like way. Oh, the second thing that we post, then you take it from here, this and go carry it. Read it for yourself. So share the report on your pages. Take your own time to read it and make sure that you understand it. Already, the people from the Unity Party have started saying, and I think from CDC too, have started saying, oh, why the men have to go bring your own investigators? Okay, let me tell you, even if they charge you, if you in court, you have to write to lawyer. You can bring your own lawyers to defend you. You can bring proof. You can bring people you can bring witnesses. Okay, you can bring people who know the subject matter. There is not against the law. There is nowhere in the law that says you cannot protect yourself. You can't prove your case. So Mr. Cummings had the right to go and bring forensic investigators. The same way when they kill somebody, even if the government bring their own report, you the parent, you can say, no, we agree. We want to bring our own forensic investigators. That's it. So thanks very much for watching. And for those of you who were on the show, Antrick, Niata Dakina, my Ponkanti sister, and Niata, I like that pellet. Try to be speaking the pellet. I've been following you and I've been learning a few more pellet, the few times. And so we'd like to say thanks a lot for being there. And Roland Sirleaf, you made me to understand that the Do River even goes as far as Marshall and enters into the Atlantic Ocean. So we'd like to say thanks a lot. We're going to come your way on Saturday. There's a Saturday edition of this Bottom Line Liberia, but it's solely about the ANC. This one, nothing else. But so all the ANC people, you can come on and see what we have to offer. And also, don't forget, for those of you living in Europe or elsewhere in the diaspora or even from Liberia, you can come to Germany in July. Mr. Cummings is going to be there on the 8th and 9th of July. There will be a fundraising event, and we all will be there. And on that note, we'd like to say thanks a lot and be our guest on Tuesday, or better say on Saturday, for another edition of the bottom line. My name is Linford Goer, aka the Afro Vikings. I know a lot of people don't know that name, but I'm the African Viking, so I'm Afro Viking on Facebook. Goodbye, and this is how we like to leave you. Thanks for the show, Andre. Thank you too. We know that you couldn't make it tonight, but let's leave you with this one right here from Mr. Cummings.
My name is Alexander Cummings, and I want to work with honest men and women to change Liberia for the better. I want to open the doors of governance to all capable persons. I want to use the collective brain power of all of our men and women. I want to build a nation of self-sufficiency. I want to build an environment that thrives on and promotes a vibrant Liberian private sector. I want to ensure that we are a nation where education is key in all of our national development priorities. I want to create and nurture a development agenda that ensures our young people have jobs when they graduate from school. I want to create an environment where our women have access to equal opportunities in every aspect of our society. I want to promote a system that uses our country's natural resources for the benefit of all. I want to see our country flourish beyond our wildest imagination. We are capable of doing it if we work together. We may not all agree all of the time, but we can set aside our differences and work towards charting a new course without the infighting, backbiting, and backstabbing. Whether you're a member of the ANC, ALP, LP, or UP, we must channel our support for individual candidates into championing our collective objective, defeating the Weah administration in the 2023 presidential and legislative elections, and ushering in a governance more prepared, more capable, more experienced, more skilled, and more honest men and women. With your help, we can move Liberia to being a better country. I thank you. God bless you and God bless Liberia.